What's up? Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up above for future uploads, and check out the links posted in the description down below to support the channel. Thank you. So here I have an article from nationalfile.com, and it says Mrs. Doubtfire enthusiast passes mid-performance. Doc cite cardiovascular issues. Now, I know what caused this, and it seems to be climate change is responsible for this, because not too long ago, an American outlet was talking about climate change causing obesity. Did you know that? Did you know that climate change causes obesity? Climate change, by the way, is something that you need to give more money towards the government so that they can fix the weather. Very interesting stuff. You know, you've got the leader of the Green Party here in Ireland, Eamon Ryan, who was fantasising about a one world government with glee in his eyes. A man that is basically Ireland's Joe Biden, and with an intellect, in my opinion, that has to be equal to a tomato. You know, a guy that's for the boards, a fella that didn't know what Russia was called, took a couple of swings at it and then ended up getting it. You know, it was like a Windows 98 just breaking down and, you know, restarting itself. And Eamon got to the end line eventually. In the 2 years that I've been doing this, I've not got one comment on this platform to say that they are a member or indeed a voter for the Green Party. You know, it's very suspect to me, to say the very least, that, you know, the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, who has a massive boat, and someone that talks about the climate all the time. Any interest in giving up the boat, Leo? No? Alright. Mark Ruffalo, another one that's very interested in the climate. Any interest in giving up using private jets and jets in general? No? Okay. And Eamon Ryan, by the way, just to bring it back to him, a guy that's very interested in the climate and used not one but two tests so we could go to Scotland for an owl junket not too long ago. Anyway, speaking about that, we'll move on past this and have a look at the individual in question here. Funnily enough, there doesn't seem to be any outcry from a certain community, and I suppose you could even say two communities now when you look at this image. No outcry about this, and Ireland's own individual that is a Mrs. Doubtfire enthusiast, zero talk about this whatsoever. And one of the people, funnily enough, you know, very interested in this community here in Ireland that wanted to push the same sort of stuff, and this person, another individual that in Ireland would have been called pusher, out, not too long ago. Another one that's pushing this stuff, as we'll see here below. So 25-year-old Philadelphia Mrs. Doubtfire enthusiast was outspoken about forcing Voldemort into Americans and has passed after collapsing mid-performance. Very interesting stuff. Now, you're not to be worried about 25-year-olds having these type of issues. You're not to be worried about soccer players like Christian Eriksen or Sergio Aguero, Vittoria Campo and her brother. You're not to be worried about Shane Warne, you know, Ray Liotta or anything like that. Don't be worried about these people, Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried, you know, those two people in particular who were shilling for you know what, and then a couple of months later no longer with us. So don't be worried about any of that. Don't be worried about any of the celebrities or nothing like that have seemingly just gone off the face of the earth in the last year or so, which is kind of weird to me. But don't be worrying about that. Be very concerned about the sniffles that they want you to forget about now altogether. And don't forget about people like this in this community. I mean, this is a Venn diagram of two communities, is it not here? That are very much so after feeling, you know, segregation and oppression for, as they would say, hundreds of years. Rightfully so, we would say. Ireland had it longer though, let's just put that out there. And people that are in this community wanted to engage in this type of behaviour. It's very interesting, isn't it? So this is a post that Valencia Prime, I mean, imagine using Prime. The only Prime that I'm interested in is Optimus Prime. If you're refusing to get Voldemort or to even wearing a mask, nice one there, this was clearly an intellectual that we're dealing with here, Shakespeare of our time. Wearing a mask, then you've lost the right to complain about the when someone says that about there or something like the likes of Google or the flu. I mean, they renamed it. I don't always say that sounds like someone that's like in their 60s or something like that, or 70s, you know the Google, you know the YouTube. Anyway, 25-year-old writing like that. Your refusal is just fuel being added to the hang on here for a second. There seem to be no sanctions on China. That seems to be very weird to me. How come they never look back at that country whatsoever? They seem to want you to forget about all of that and not to even think about that. Very quickly and very easily sanctioned Russia, but no interest in China. Very weird to say the very least. But like I said earlier on, guys, this has definitely got something to do with climate change, and you're not to be worried about any of the people that are falling foul, most recently, and even over the last couple of weeks there was a Barcelona game that was stopped, fan medical emergency in the stands, a Chelsea game that was stopped not too long ago, fan emergency in the stands. You've also seen it now in public transport here in Ireland as well. They've had to stop vehicles now because there's a medical emergency on them. It seems to be quite common now, and I never heard of any of this sort of stuff before. And even talking to my outfit, he never heard of any of this stuff before. So again, climate change is something we're going to have to be very focused on for the next couple of years. It's the way of the world. It's the way they're going. Check out the likes of Facebook, for example. They're totally warning you at this moment in time about the weather being warm or the weather being cold. And this has probably got something to do with this. Anyway, you know what it is. I know what it is. You know the gig at this stage. But anyway, seems to be a very quiet community on both fronts here. They don't seem to want to acknowledge this whatsoever. But it's glaringly obvious as to what's happening. And as I will say, keep an eye out. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up above for future uploads. Check out the links posted in the description down below to support the channel, and talk to you later. Look.